Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay, now I can hear. How's everyone doing today? Good. It's a hot day. A little toasty out there, but we'll make it. Hey, want to make sure you guys get some information. With school getting ready to get started, we're looking at a lot of good information that you're going to need. One thing is the Infinite Scholarship. It's a fair that we're going to be a part of. We're going to be able to go to. It's in Cleveland on September 11th. It's on a Friday. So it's right after school. It starts at 3 and then around 6 o'clock. This thing's crazy. But we're planning on that. So if anyone is interested, I had 2 people so far get back with me by email, and I have those names, and I'll keep you up to date on what we're going to do and what the transportation looks like. If anyone else is interested, please contact me by email. You can text me or you can call me.
How many juniors and seniors are interested? Okay, so we got a lot more than 2.
Right.
How about when you're done talking, I'll ask again, they can raise their hand and jot down their name.
All right.
So, my understanding of this,
I'll have to check on
my understanding of this is they need an ACT score, is that correct?
it. That's correct. Yes, there's a long list of things that we'll need, and I'll give them all that information.
Okay. We, between now and 9/11, we're prepared to get you to take the ACT and get a score. We have the forms to fill out, and then we'll have transportation down, okay? But I wouldn't pass up this opportunity. Yes, Jenny?
The next ACT is September 8th, so for September 12th.
We are talking about testing at, where are we testing, Ken? Where can they take the test before that date?
They were talking about Kent having something to do with it, or Stark State, I believe.
We can get tested at Kent, all right? We'd like to do that in the next 3 weeks. Okay? Yes. Yes.
But
Yeah, Camp's gonna pay for it.
I love you guys.
He's got a high 5, that got a low 5 for Dave. Yeah. Okay, so when you're done, we can raise the hand, so.
That's basically what I wanted to say.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, so raise your hands again. Keep them up till Mrs. Bruner can, I'll read them off. Anisha, Tessa,
she thought she hasn't even started writing it.
Anisha, Tessa, DK, Lashana, Jack, Megan, Mackenzie, Kelsey, Gabe, Kayla, Natasha. I think you already have Chelsea. I'm sorry? Gabe, Kayla, Natasha, Chelsea. I've got Jada, Viv. Did you raise your hand there? Okay. Jonathan? And Logan. Did I miss anybody? No? Brooklyn, yeah. Brooklyn's going like this. I think she's raising her hand.
You'll be in quickly.
She's gone. She's out of here. Okay, very important for the October session. We have to move it. The Caddy Scholarship Program, Caddy Scholarship Golf Tournament will take place on the 18th. We do this every year. We had to change it last year, so our October camps date is now October 25th. It is my hopes at that meeting that we'll bring Daniel Tessau back, and we will have a big session for the juniors and seniors. I'm going to work something out for the sophomores, juniors and seniors, and maybe everybody. And Daniel's going to work with the group on a spreadsheet that, and how we attack raising funds and scholarships. Daniel's paying for a year at Mount Union. Daniel's fees are down to $26 for the year. So that's how much he's paying. And we want to listen to this young man and let him do it, okay? It might not exactly be transferable. Mount Union does have a good camp scholarship. I think it's $10,000 for one and $7,500 for another. But he also did a lot of other things with multicultural scholarships,
Yes, City.
and other things that are available. We want to see how Daniel did this. I am really interested in how Daniel did this, okay? And if nothing else, the spreadsheet I know is terrific. I mean, it's a way to attack going after each individual line on room and board and tuition and so on and so forth. So, okay. With that, we did Infinite Scholars, right? At the October meeting. Okay. With that, Megan Montgomery is back again. She loves us. She can't get enough. And she dragged her sister along. Chelsea Foster, who was, I'll call her Megan's kind of overriding supervisor running the camp program over at Freshmark, could not make it today. She wanted to be here. She could not make it, but she's worked closely with Megan. Megan's going to talk to you about resumes. Now, what you have from me and what we've been able to do, I call a profile. You can call it a resume. It's pretty decent outline structure for the beginning of a resume. What Megan's going to talk to you about is, okay, now you're in college, you've got a couple of jobs under your belt. By the way, some of you that I'm working with, and this is not a knock, you haven't had jobs yet. So there isn't a job resume put together. That's why we call it a profile. We talk about skills, we talk about where you want to be in the next 3 to 5 years, 1 to 2 years, 3 to 5 years, and so on and so forth. We have a profile. She's going to talk to you about a resume. Megan, ready? Welcome, Megan Montgomery. I would be moving around too much, so this is where it kind of cuts out.
Can you hear me? Yes. Hello? Hello? I don't believe it. No, I've never actually presented on Google Slides. Oh, it's on the corner. Nope. Okay, we're good. Okay, hello, my name is Megan. As Mr. B said, I worked at Freshmark this summer, and while working there, Chelsea Foster, who is, I consider my expert consultant on this, helped me kind of take my student profile to make a resume and a CV, which we'll talk about later. And so I hope she could be here, but she can't. She's having some drama with her apartment down in Athens. So she could not be here, so I'm going to do the best I can to kind of explain this to you in the way she explained it to me. This was very legible on my computer screen at home. Doesn't appear too legible now, but that's all right because most of it's in black anyway. So what is a resume? A resume is basically just a summary of everything that you've accomplished in your professional career. So whether that's your education, your work experience, your skills, awards and certificates that you receive, and it's just kind of a detailed emphasis on all of that. So it explains a little bit about what you do if you have a major in college and then you've taken a class that doesn't necessarily pertain to it. Somebody wouldn't necessarily think that you took it, but you did. You can include that on there, and it just kind of helps give an overall idea of who you are as an applicant. And it's important because this is what employers use not to hire you, but to find a reason to not bring you in for an interview. Employers and funds and programs receive hundreds of applications, hundreds of resumes, and they look at this sheet of paper to kind of figure out whether or not you would be a good fit or not. So it's one sheet of paper. They don't normally ever see your face. They never talk to you. They just see this. This is the first thing that they see and the first thing that they use to discern whether or not they want you for their company, their program, their scholarship, or whatnot. So you can use it to apply to competitive programs. As Mr. B said, not a lot of people, especially in high school, have a lot of work experience or a lot of relevant work experience to include. And so it's nice, though, to have it if you're applying to a competitive college, if you're applying to a competitive program in a college, like a nursing school, especially like at Kent State. I know my sister's a nurse, so she went to this Kent State START program, and that's one of the most preferred programs in Northeast Ohio, maybe in the state, I'm not quite sure. She's a nurse, I'm not. So even then it's helpful, even if you're just applying for a regular part-time job, it kind of shows that you're going the extra mile to apply for the job rather than just kind of presenting what they want to know. And it's a professional habit to get into, because later on as you're applying to more and more jobs after college, you're going to need a resume. So it's nice to start now so it's not so overwhelming once you get there. And so it's actually very simple to go from the student profile you have to go to a resume. It's just more detailed. You use a lot more things that are descriptive. So, for instance, I audited this summer. You know, it's not, I didn't go through, I didn't check something, I audited. And so it's just kind of more of a, it's just kind of more of a way to take ownership of what you've done, if that makes sense. It's a way to kind of show that you took initiative on something and that it made a greater impact on the company or the program after you left it than when you had started. And so basically the way to take it from the profile to the resume is just to add detail and add it about yourself. And I can show you my resume later. I don't have a printer at home, so it's on my computer. And so moving on from a resume, you have your curriculum vitae. I'm not quite sure if that's how you pronounce that Latin word. But it's commonly referred to as a CV. And a CV normally is something only graduate students have because it includes things like teaching experience, research experience, publications, presentations, grants, and awards. But it's also something that more and more undergraduates and before are kind of getting into because it's longer than a resume. A resume should only be 1 page long, but a CV is supposed to be a minimum of 2 pages long. And so it adds more than just work experience. You have volunteer experience. You have programs you've been a part of, things like camp, whereas on a resume you would have it as maybe an award or a program. On a CV you would detail kind of what camp is and what you do in camp and the volunteering that you do in camp and things like that. So a CV is normally more detailed, and so it's kind of a nice thing to get into the practice of because you can go into more in-depth experience of what you have in it. You can have more headings than just education, than just work experience. You can do things that you're planning on doing in the future, so if you've been accepted into a program, you can put that on the CV. And so basically this is kind of what, when I was talking to Mr. V, because he doesn't really want anyone to stress out about doing a resume, because you don't really need it yet. It's a good idea to have, and it's a good idea to start something that looks like a resume and that can act like a resume, but you don't necessarily have the requirements that people want on a resume. And so on a CV, especially an undergraduate CV, because it doesn't have to include all of these things, because unless you have a minimum of 6 years of college, you don't really have any of these things. So it's a good idea to kind of get into because you can record the things that you've done now. So if you volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, you can detail that now, so that 5 years down the road, when you're applying to that dream job of yours, you can remember what you've done from the beginning to the end for Habitat to show kind of how you've grown with that organization, to show what you can do to grow with their organization. So this is more a little bit about it. So scholarships and grants are great things to put on CVs because it shows that some other organization has kind of recognized you for what you've done. And then when you apply to a scholarship or grant further on, because there are scholarships for sophomore and junior and senior year of college, It can kind of show how involved you've been. And really that's what they're looking for, because I know in high school everyone says be involved because it helps for college, but in college you really need to be involved because it helps for after college. Because the more diverse you are and the more diverse your experiences, the more companies are going to be attracted to you. So including involvement makes it easier to remember now, which is kind of, it's not a true CV what I'm talking about. It's not a true CV that I have. But it is a CV in the way that it's something I'm using to record what I've done now so that I have an easier way of describing it later on. So when I have to write a cover letter, or when I have to write and say why I want to get into this program, or I want to say why I think I'm a good fit for this company as I'm applying to internships and to jobs, it's easier to look back on this and say, well, this is what I've already done. And so it's easier to remember it now because I did it now than if I were to go, a few months even down the line. I was recording what I did for Howard Hanna when I was working there, and I was writing for like 5 minutes before I actually remembered what I did in one of the programs there, because I never wrote it down before. And so I was like, oh, I did that. And so I know it doesn't, this all seems really abstract, and I know, because you're all giving me these like really blank faces, and I don't know if it's just because I'm really boring or because you just don't really care. But it's so much easier. It's like writing a paper almost. You do the pre-write because the teacher tells you you have to do the pre-write for the paper. But if you really admit it to yourself, it kind of helps down the line when you did the pre-write because you have all your things organized in a simple way. And so that's really what the CV and the resume are. And when you start thinking about it now, see, you're giving me that smile. I don't know if you're giving me that smile because you're catching on or because you think it's weird. When you kind of record all these things and you use all these things, it makes it easier to remember later on. And that's what you want to do. You want to remember what you did, because everything you've done in your past is going to impact how a company, how a program, how a job, how a scholarship is going to think that you are going to impact whatever they're trying to give you. Whether it's for a position, whether they're giving you money, whether they're giving you experience, whatever it is, whatever you have done, they want to know, essentially, because they want to know what makes you different from all of the other applications that they've received. So if everyone, the night before they apply to a job, just as well, I went to this school and I participated in this program and I was in this program, but nobody actually says what they did. So like, if you were in Model UN, so you're like, well, I was a delegate in Model UN and I went to the convention in Columbus, and I helped write the resolution for Model UN. Anyone that was in Model UN did that. So what did you specifically do in Model UN that made your group, your country, better than everyone else's? So what did you specifically add to that resolution that would have made it better than if you hadn't done it? And I use Model UN because that's specifically early college. If you were, I don't remember other things. And in NHS, did you organize anything? If you were in junior cast, were you in charge of any specific event? Lots of people volunteer. Lots of people are involved. So what did you specifically do in that involvement that makes you better than the person's resume that they looked at before you and that they're going to look at after you? And that's really why I wanted to do this, because I didn't have that. On my profile, it was just kind of like, well, I worked at Howard Hanna, and I input listings, and I input sales, and I was in Model UN, and I did this, and I was in speech and debate, and I did this. And when I looked at it, and when Chelsea had me look at it, I realized that anyone that did any of that was going to do exactly those same things. There was nothing different about what I did with those than what they did. It was just, oh, I was in a lot of different things. And so that's really what I want you to start thinking about. And I'm not telling you, come here, oh, you have to have a full resume done by the end of the day, and you have to have a 4-page CV done. It's just to start getting you thinking about what makes you unique, what makes you special, what makes a company or organization or scholarship or fund going to want you because of what you've done. And that's really the essence of the resume or the CV, or when you write a cover letter, that's the essence of it. Is why you are a good fit. So they help. They help a lot. It grows as you grow. So you do a job, you joined a new organization, you did a new thing. You record it because it grows as you grow. And it's easier to kind of write down what you did and how you made a difference when you do it than when you're reflecting on it down the line. A CV can also be used to make a resume. So they have multiple different ways of constructing resumes and multiple different ways of constructing CVs. But I think the easiest way is just kind of take parts from your CV that were relevant for whatever you're applying to and to make your resume from that. So really, you don't even need to, you need to make a resume at one point in your life, but you don't have to have just one resume that you use all of the time. You can kind of make it unique for each position just to show how unique you are for that. Because if you're applying for a job at McDonald's and then you're applying for a job in an office, there's going to be different things that are going to be attractive to who's ever hiring you. Yes, you need people skills, but what kind of people skills do you need? So things like that. So it keeps track of what you've done. Also, a CV is a great way to start a LinkedIn. LinkedIn is kind of like Facebook for work experience. I don't know if everyone's heard of it or no one's heard of it or you just kind of heard of it. And so it's a professional networking. So you can get on there and you can add people that you worked with, add people that you know, and it just kind of gets you out there. And they have a lot of categories to fill out. They have volunteer experience, work experience, education, programs you've been a part of. And so really everything that you have on there is kind of what you have on a CV. And so if you kind of just go back and forth between them, it's a great way to start getting that. So when you start applying for different programs and jobs that you can use LinkedIn for, you kind of have that already in your CV. And so lastly, this is all the essence of it, is you don't know what you don't know. You can think you know everything until you find out that you didn't know something, but you're never going to know that you didn't know it until you do it. And so it's kind of like a never-ending circle of things because you never know. And so as long as you continue to pursue new opportunities that are, relevant, don't jump from like 5 things at a time because that's going to make you crazy. But as long as you continue to pursue new opportunities, you are going to continuously grow. You're going to be more well-rounded, more diverse in your knowledge, and have more of a rich experience, which will not only help you, but will make you more attractive. And that's what your CV and your resume capture. And that's my spiel. I lied. Resources. Everyone has resources. There's the Stark State Career Development Office, which they have a lot of stuff online. I was looking at it. They have a ton of stuff. They have an office you can actually go to and talk to a real person. Any college or university has things online. Ohio State University has a ton of things online. Akron University has things online. Kent State University has things online. I go to NYU, they have things online, and everyone's things are going to be a little bit different. So, maybe you want to go to an engineering school, check out an engineering colleges to see what they have, because they're going to differ from discipline to discipline. So just kind of check out online when, maybe go to Stark State, maybe go to main campus sometime, see what they have, because you're a Stark State student, so you can do that. And camp, because believe it or not, everyone here is professional. So they, at one point, made a resume, and they kind of know what they're doing. So that is it. That's my done. I'm not lying.
I continue to be impressed with all of our graduates. We have a new set of graduates this year, I'm sure. I'll be that impressed next year, but great job, Megan. Thank you. Megan volunteered to do this. It's something she wanted to do, and she feels passionate about it. And I didn't ask her to do it, and she asked if she could have some time, so I appreciate that. Maybe a good idea would be the current seniors that are graduating, maybe you can come back again, and maybe we'll have a kickoff next summer, maybe the June seminar with all of the seniors who graduated this year, and start to really drill down, okay? Because they'll be starting to get into that, okay? You're going to be, who's ever left in Early College High School for this year and the next 3-4 years, you are going to be taught success classes. It's success 100, 200, 300, 400. These are mandatory courses by the district now. They're business courses. You will all be going to them. In there is what they will teach you is called competencies. Competencies are skills. I can go pick out any job posting. I did it yesterday or last week for a young lady. Actually, it's Ron Wolkoff's daughter. And it's a buyer at Victoria's Secrets. And she showed me the job posting. And I picked out 12 skills they were looking for. I extracted them right out of the resume. So I put those skills on the left-hand side. It included things like communication. It included things like IT. It included things like problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, competitive. Those are all skills. You're lucky, the future early college high school students, you will be going through courses that are going to talk about those skills. What Megan's talking about is have your resume screen those skills. When you screen those skills, the magic is that the employer is looking for a whole bunch of skills, and if you have all of those skills and you bring it together, guess what? You get the job. It's really a nice, easy fit for that. We'll talk more about it. I have input in with Mr. Bruner to the skills portion of the program, meeting tomorrow with the vice principal and Wendy Lickmuller, and we're going to work on it some more. But it's really neat stuff, and it fits into exactly what Megan's talking about. How's your resume on the screen? And so, sophomores, juniors, relax. Seniors, I'll get on you a little bit more this year, but still relax. You need it for when you graduate college. You'll need it as you progress, okay? Okay, with that, we're going to break now. So, we have an exciting session with Dr. King and some of his guests. And you're all, everybody, healthcare. Raise your hand for healthcare. Okay, including seniors, including graduates. Okay, you're all going to go with Dr. King into room 114. Okay, close up your books. Take all your books with you. If you're a graduate and a senior at about 10 to 4, would you come out of there and come right in here, and we'll do the photograph, and we'll do the computers, the laptops.